I came across a couple tweets today that reminded me just how dumb and offensive these Christian modesty police type people are. So here's a couple tweets from a dude named Eric Kahn. He's obviously a little bit of an extremist if you look at his Twitter feed, but his thoughts and ideas, particularly around modesty, are fairly mainstream in a lot of Christianity. I've heard them many places, online, offline, etc., etc. Now, obviously, none of these sorts of comments are directed at me. They're, of course, all directed at women, because women, unfortunately, get the brunt of all the purity culture, modesty culture stuff. I'm definitely planning to do a video about how purity culture affected me personally, but when it comes to purity culture, generally, women have it far worse. They're policed far worse, and it's pretty gross. So the first of these tweets reads, "Acceptable occasions to wear yoga pants. Alone in your house with your husband. Working out alone in your private gym while your husband watches you. The end. No public venues, no social media." I mean, there's a lot really gross in this tweet in general. You know, the sentiment of, you can't show anything that's potentially form-fitting or looks good is clear in that tweet. Another tweet he wrote, "Bikinis are glorified underwear and a form of shameful public nakedness. This was common sense until the 20th century. Co-ed swim beaches were not a thing prior." I mean, all right, what do I even say to such nonsense as that? But let's go ahead and get into the more broad modesty purity culture and why it's offensive. So clearly, as a man, I find it very offensive for two reasons. One, it's offensive to women, and I find that offensive. I find it very offensive when these Christian types love to try and police and control women. I don't like that. That is not my worldview. It will never be my worldview that women should be controlled, especially by men. And it's also offensive to me as a man, and so I'm going to dive into both of these things. And I'm going to start with why it's offensive to women, because it's pretty straightforward, and it should be pretty common sense, even though it often isn't. So first, it's telling women that their bodies are somehow evil, there's something wrong with them, they need to be covered up, and that creates all sorts of body shame, body issues, etc., etc. Number two, it's basically telling women that they have no autonomy over their bodies because they have to be controlled in what they wear, how they present themselves, etc., etc. Number three, it's also telling them that they're somehow less than men because men can wear whatever they want. Men are not subject to these rules, but somehow women are, and therefore it makes women feel like they're somehow less than men. Going even deeper than telling women that their bodies are evil, these kinds of messages over and over again make a lot of women feel like they are themselves evil, like there's something fundamentally wrong with being a woman, rather they necessarily verbalize that or not. It's a very common feeling for those in the church, for those women who are finally leaving the church, to deal with this internal of just feeling not good about themselves. And finally, it's just simply a very patriarchal, controlling type of worldview that is put on these women, telling them exactly what they can and can't do, what they can and can't wear, what they should, be doing with their lives and not doing with their lives. Very patriarchal, very controlling, and obviously that is hugely damaging to women who are under this, especially those who were in the church, who didn't fight back with it, and then, realize how controlled they are. That's really harmful, that women are not allowed by this type of person to have basic autonomy. Before I dive into why it's personally offensive to me, I do want to say, if you're a woman and you prefer to dress modestly, fabulous. Go for it. The point is not to tell women, that you have to dress in something that's more revealing or more skin tight or whatever. Like, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is women should be able to dress however they want. If you feel, best in a dress that goes, from your neck all the way down to your toes, fabulous, wear that. If you feel best wearing, yoga pants and if you feel best wearing yoga pants and a crop top, do that. If you feel great wearing a bikini to the beach, awesome. If you prefer to wear a swimsuit that's much more covering, fabulous. I am going to be the last person to tell you what to wear, what your fashion style should be. The point of this video is to say that men, myself included, have zero business telling you what the hell you want to wear. You wear that, you be proud of that, you be proud of yourself, you be proud of your body, you be proud of who you are on the inside. That's what counts. All right, so let's dive into why I personally, feel offended by these types of tweets, this type of person, this type of ideology. And number one, which I've kind of touched on throughout this video, but I want to kind of do its own point, is I'm offended on behalf of women. Like, if somebody was telling me what to wear, if they're like, hey, like, wearing tight black t-shirts is not okay, it is sinful, I would be incredibly bothered by that, because like that's basically all I wear. If I was told, wearing gym shorts was not appropriate, I would be offended by that, because in the summer that's like all I wear. Or if like certain types of jeans, like men can't wear skinny jeans, which I think actually these people will say too, but I would be offended by that even though I don't wear skinny jeans. I wear the more loose-fitting jeans because that's what I dig. But if somebody told me that like I can't wear certain cuts of clothes, all this kind of stuff, I would be offended, and therefore it's natural that I'm offended on behalf of women, because like, what the hell are these people doing telling women what they can and can't wear? And if someone tried to control me like that, I would push back as well. And number two is the way that it honestly degrades men to telling women this kind of thing, because it basically assumes that men can't control themselves if women wear tight clothing or clothing that reveals some skin or different things like that. Like, it basically says inadvertently like, hey, men are animals, we are controlled by our eyes and our lusts and all of this stuff, and if a woman wears a certain thing, we just can't control ourselves, we just have to stare, or we just have to touch, or whatever gross kinds of things like that implies that men don't have any kind of autonomy in this, and that we're basically like zombies, and we see a woman wearing something we find attractive and we're like, must have, blah. Like, it's illogically stupid, and it's really, really gross. I don't want people to perceive me as this zombie who can't control himself, no matter what any particular person happens to be wearing. I am a photographer and videographer, and I shoot a lot of different kinds of fashion. And, I shoot my fair share of bikini, lingerie, sportswear, whatever it might be. And I never have like the thought or desire to say anything inappropriate to models, to touch models, to do anything to models. It's like, we're here, we are trying to capture really cool images. A lot of these people that I work with, they become my friends. I have huge respect for them, what they do. And I just find it really gross that there's this perception and this worldview that's pushing that men have to be zombies, when I'm like, that's literally not my experience. I have, shot and filmed dozens and dozens of people and shoots in varying degrees of, different kinds of clothes. And like, it's not even like that I have to control myself. It's like, I literally don't even think about like, I should do, I don't know, whatever weird stuff that these guys apparently think that men are just destined to do if women don't wear the kind of clothes that are modest enough. And like, to me, like, that's just, it's really offensive that these men are propagating that men can't control themselves. And I don't know if it's just because like they can't and they need psychological help to get themselves under control or what, but But it's really frustrating to me because that's never been my experience. And particularly like as I've come out of the church, I've actually found that to be even more true, because in the church you're fed this propaganda of, if women wear this, like, you're going to lust after them. And when you get out of that mindset, you're like, no, like, no, I'm not. That's not how I work. That's not how my brain works. You know, you're perfectly capable of finding somebody attractive and not doing or thinking really bizarre, weird, creepy stuff. Like, I don't know what to tell you, people who believe that it's just impossible. It's the same kind of crap where people say like men and women can't be friends because it's guaranteed to end in affairs and all that nonsense, which is completely untrue. Most of my life I've had way more woman friends than male friends and never had anything like that happen. So it's just crazy to me. Like, I am perfectly capable of controlling my thoughts, my emotions, my actions with anybody, no matter what they wear. I have the ultimate control. If a thought passes through my brain, I can decide, you know, act on it or not. And it's very, very easy to choose not to. But as I said earlier, like, I don't even, when I'm like in that zone, when I'm like working on projects, I don't even have that kind of like creepy kind of thought like, oh, I should do this or whatever. Like, it's just, it's not even there. So that's why I personally find it very, very offensive to me that these men are like, women have to wear what, you know, have to wear these really modest things because men just can't control themselves. And it's just, it's weird. It's honestly, it's really weird when you break it down. So if you're the type of Christian or just man in general who thinks that women need to wear or not wear certain things to be modest or acceptable in society, just f*** off. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more videos from a former Christian commenting on religion, world events, philosophy, culture, and more. And I will see you very soon.